What's up, you guys? It's 2Bricks, and I have a pretty large expansion to show you to my Clone Wars collection from the Micro Fleet series. If you guys are new to the channel or to the series, make sure to check out all of the other videos that I have in the playlist to see the other hundreds of starships that I have created from Star Wars, all to scale with what you see right here. Some of them get pretty large, so I think you guys will have fun checking that out. So today's expansion sees a bunch of new designs, so ships that I've never had in here before. There's a couple of additional sort of recolors of designs that I already had, and then this Twilight back here is a sort of a tinker with a previous incarnation that I had, and I did show that off a little bit in my previous video where I gave you guys a look at the whole fleet, but I just wanted to give you a sort of detailed, proper look at it in its new form. So without any further ado, let's jump in and take a look at all of the new ships that I've added to my fleet. So as per usual, I'll start with the smallest. This is just a CIS color scheme for my standard battle tank design, the AAT battle tank. What I've done is I've actually just slightly reconfigured the design so that it can be removed from its base, because I felt like it's a hovering tank, and just seeing it kind of sitting a little bit above the ground on these clear tiles, I think that's enough to sell, you know, what this is without having to have a big black base sitting underneath it. So just slightly tweak that design there. No kind of visual differences to it. And then I've just given it the blue and gray CIS color scheme with the black gun barrel and the little black side guns as well. So really, really simple. It's a really effective little design, I think. To me, at least, for if you're a Star Wars fan, you probably know what this is when you look at it, even though it's so small. So very happy with that. And next up we have the Y-Wing that is taken from Clone Wars Season 7. That is essentially a recolor, although I did have to switch out a few parts just for availability, like these blue lever pieces instead of these little rounded kind of half egg pieces that I have at the front of this one. But basically exactly the same design as much as I could, because it's supposed to be the same ship, just recolored. This is from the actual season or series finale of the Clone Wars, where Rex and Ahsoka need to make a quick getaway, and there's a very, very intense and cool action scene involving this ship, so that was a ton of fun, and definitely wanted to add that to the Y-Wing collection. And let me just show you guys all of my Y-Wings together. So I have the two Clone Wars era ones now, the Rebellion, Gold Squadron one, and then the one from Rise of Skywalker. So there you go, the Y-Wing family is growing, and actually one thing I really love about this whole update is that I'm really expanding my Clone Wars era Starfighter presence, because that's pretty, it's been pretty lackluster. So yeah, let's get in and check out the next one. And next up we have a new Starfighter design, that is the V19 Torrent, which has been much requested in the past, but I could just never quite figure out a way to crack this design because it's so strange looking and so specific, and you would definitely feel if it was wrong. It would be quite apparent, I think. So this one is a little bit overscaled. It's only supposed to be 2 studs long, and you can see that it is just a little bit bigger than that. But it's as good as I could get it to where it would have any kind of meaningful detail. But I'm actually really happy with it. I think this is such a cool, weird-looking ship in universe, like the kind of different elements that have been mixed into this, like the sloped-down wings, you know, kind of reminiscent of either the bottom half of an X-Wing or like the kind of standard shuttle type designs that we see from Star Wars. Let me just take it off the base so I can give you guys a better look at the ship itself. So yeah, it has that vertical stabilizer type wing in there with the engine. This kind of reminds me of the Twilight a little bit. The thing that actually enabled me to crack this design was the inclusion of this white shield piece. It's sort of like a riot shield for minifigs, but it has 2 studs on either side in here, and so I was able to just use that to plug in the wings, and then it gave me the connection point underneath to attach the wing, and that just kind of cracked the solution for me for the design. I'm using a claw piece for the cockpit, which is just like my ARC 170 Starfighter, so it kind of fits in with that. I have these engine pieces off the back with the half Technic pins, nothing fancy there. And I like that this wing, I was able to get the little cut-in portion of it right there, just using one of these rounded tiles to hold everything in together at the back. And then, yeah, these new single bracket pieces enabling me to attach engines to the front of things where I could never have done that before. And then around here, just carrying through the Republic color scheme into the wings. And I think it works out really, really nicely. This is a really fun one, and it's been requested a bunch of times in the past, but I really just couldn't figure out how to do it. And now that I have, I'm glad that I can show it to you guys. So there's the V19 Torrent. Next up, we have the first of 4 new shuttle designs for this update. This is the Jedi T6 shuttle, which, like everything in Clone Wars, it seems, can actually rotate. I have it in its landed configuration right now, but you can just take off these 2 little legs right here, and then when it goes into flight mode, you just rotate the cockpit up, you rotate these engine assemblies. It's supposed to all go together, you know, but this is how it actually flies, with this very cool, weird looking configuration of top and bottom wing design. And it's got this huge cockpit, and all of the passengers sit up in this section of the ship, and then below here is just where the boarding ramp would be. Yeah, it's got these big engines at the back here, which I'm just using the hollow studs to represent. I think that works really well. The part that was really tricky for me on this one was figuring out the spacing, so that there would be, because it's very snug on either side of this, and just giving it enough room to be able to rotate. That was hard, and you can actually just spin this plate, as you can see there. And then just getting the design, the kind of repeating design on all 4 sides, just figuring out how to make that work with the engines too. It was just a little bit of figuring out, but yeah, I got it in the end, and I was really happy with how faithful I was able to be to the color scheme as well. Obviously, on the back here, I'm relying on these wedge plates, because these plates right here that come in the kind of corner round configuration are not able to attach to an anti-stud, so there's no way for me to do that on the bottom. But I think that this works out really well, and it's a pretty iconic, recognizable vehicle to the series, to Clone Wars. And if you're a fan of that show, I think you definitely would know this. And it's one that we got an official Lego set of as well, which was a really nice one. And yeah, I'm just really happy to have it in the fleet. So there is the Jedi Order T6 shuttle. Next up, we have the Jedi Order Eta class shuttle, or Ambassador shuttle, which is pretty unique and recognizable in the universe because it has this big bowl-shaped cockpit. The real thing has some, you know, some kind of window frame portions in this that are white, but obviously nothing like that exists in Lego. So at least I have a bowl piece that I can use to represent that front cockpit area. So that's kind of cool. The wings on this can fold up, and it does have these almost comically long legs on the real ship. And then there's a boarding ramp that just extends down underneath that. And it can balance on those legs, and I really like how spindly it looks when it's just balancing like that. It's, do you get it? The Jedi Order, they're all about balance, so their vehicles perch on a silly set of tall chicken legs like that to show off how well they can balance things. But yeah, I think this one is, again, really recognizable if you're a Clone Wars fan. Other people who've, you know, aren't too familiar would probably not even really know what they were looking at when they saw this, to be honest. It's very strange looking. I just have this single bracket tile back here to represent what would be the engines, but there's no glow or anything present in it right now. But yeah, there's the kind of, it's almost like this is the opposite, like you took a V19 Torrent and you just turned it upside down and made it into a shuttle. And yeah, I guess the Jedi Order used this for shuttling around their dignitaries from planet to planet. And it can also balance if you just place the wings at the right angle. It can stand up on the wings too if you just want to make it look like it's in flight. Yeah, but kind of keeping the same techniques that I've been using across the board for my shuttles, of the brick-built top wing and then the plate-built side wings, I think works well enough for this. Like the thicknesses are not too far off, and I think it just I think it works. So there is the Jedi Eta class shuttle. Next up, we have one of my favorite Clone Wars era shuttles, the new or NU class shuttle, which is it's classified as an attack shuttle, and I'm not really sure exactly what the designation means, other than that it's just aggressively armed to the teeth, for a shuttle anyway, and it has a whole array of engines back here, which makes it look super tough, aggressive, fast, and it's just kind of bulky. You know, it has a good sort of central heft to it. So it's just sort of like the aggressive cousin of like the Lambda class shuttle. You know, it's very similar in the overall structure. If you just remove the top wing of the Lambda class, and then you stick a bunch more kind of weaponry onto the cockpit and the areas around it, it's very reminiscent of that. I like that I'm finding new ways to use that roller skate insertion technique here to get these two guns on the side of, or either side of the cockpit. I'm really happy with the overall shaping of this too. I like the way that I was able to get the guns to face forward, and then the tilt of this cockpit, and even the kind of detail suggested on this front section here, where it is very flat like that in the real design, and I think that that just conveys that really well. There's a little bit of yellow here present in the wings, and of course the wings, like any shuttle, I'll just pop it off here, like any Star Wars shuttle that's worth its salt, the wings can fold up when it comes into landing mode. And I think this just has a really great presence to it, as you know, the Lego model is what it is, but I think that the actual design from Lucasfilm is really, really cool on this one. Just like way to take something that was already iconic, 40 years ago, or whatever Return of the Jedi was, 37 years ago, something like that, and turn it into something that's just like still relevant today, and in some ways even cooler, like just more mean, more aggressive, and with the Republic color scheme in there, I think that just really sells it. So really, really happy with this one. And like I said, with these engines, it just looks like it could absolutely blast through any situation that it needs to. And another one that I believe we did get an official Lego set of, although I never got it. Yeah, I really like this design. And I think making this ship actually gave me a little bit of an extra appreciation for the design, that I already really liked it, and I think this just gave me that little extra bit of love for this design. And so yeah, there is the new class Republic Attack Shuttle. And the final of the 4 shuttle designs that I have to show you today is the Bad Batch Shuttle, is what I'm going to refer to it as. This is from the obviously the Bad Batch arc of Season 7 of the Clone Wars, but it was previously seen already when Lucasfilm, back before they planned to actually finish the Clone Wars, they released the kind of animatic stages of these episodes, and so we were already familiar with this craft from that, but it was really nice to see it fully fleshed out in its final iteration. It has a sort of an interesting, there's like these kind of blast shields on either side of the cockpit, it looks like, and I wasn't really sure of a good way to represent that, so I'm just using this clip to sort of indicate, in here is where they look out of, and it has this really nice elongated front section here. The whole cockpit is just really, really pointed out and very aggressive looking, and it kind of has that Republic configuration of the way that the wings are done, like that's present in a lot of the Republic vehicles at the time. You have the similar kind of look on here, and yeah, I just think that this one is really cool and really sleek, mean. The black color scheme makes it look extra aggressive. The kind of pointy forward little kind of bat wing hooks on the bottom here. Yeah, I think this is a really nice looking design from the show. There was a little bit of a controversy, I guess, where the original, in the pre-Disney era animatics that they had released, they had created some pinup art, which is kind of an homage to old World War II vehicles, or fighter ships and stuff would have. They would have these like kind of sexy ladies painted onto their planes to just kind of, I don't know, give the troops a boost of morale or something. But yeah, so they had created something like that, which was actually of Padme, which I think probably is seen as a little bit, I don't know, problematic, I guess. It's hard to exactly know what to say about that, but they removed it in the final design in the show, so I didn't have to worry about trying to figure out a way to represent something like that on my ship. But yeah, I think that's actually probably a good thing. I think Padme is a very beloved character to young girls, and we don't want to objectify anybody. But yeah, so we have the engines back here, just very simply represented in the blue. Very, very similar to, again, you can imagine this coming off of the same assembly line as the any of the other kind of Republic / Imperial shuttles, just predating the Imperial color scheme here with the black and the gray, right at the tail end of the Clone Wars. So yeah, this one's really cool. And of course, oh, the elephant in the room that I'm not mentioning, the Bad Batch just announced a couple of days ago, as of the time of the recording of this video, are getting their own show. So we're going to be seeing a lot more of this thing, I'm sure. And it's going to be kind of a sequel or spiritual successor to the Clone Wars, where we follow the Bad Batch after the Clone Wars ended and see what they're up to in the newly formed Empire. So that's going to be very interesting indeed. And I do hope that they get to keep their ship, because this thing is really awesome. So yeah, there is the Bad Batch shuttle. I'm very excited and interested to see if we get to see any animation or any teaser trailer or anything for it this year. You know, given the whole COVID crisis shutting down all of the conventions and stuff, it'll be interesting to see what we get to find out about this show. But yeah, there is the shuttle, and I think it's a really fun one. And then quickly, I just wanted to give you guys a look at how all of my new collection of Star Wars shuttles scale together, at least Imperial and sort of First Order Republic shuttles. I really like the commonality amongst the design language of Star Wars ships, so that we know whenever you see this kind of a wing configuration, you understand immediately that you're looking at a shuttle that's probably transporting someone important to where they need to go. Of course, there are outliers, like, you know, the Jedi shuttle here is very unique in its own way. But yeah, I think that's one of the coolest things about Star Wars design language, is that it's so accessible and easy to understand. As soon as you look at it, you know exactly what it is. So yeah, there's my current collection of Star Wars shuttles as it stands. Next up, we have the SS-54 Assault Gunship, or the Bounty Hunter Gunship, as it's more commonly known in the LEGO community. That's what LEGO called their official set when they released it. And this is a fun one because it's sort of a weird, wacky kind of shape with this big tail section that sticks out of the back here. The fact that it has these rotating engines which prop up. Again, rotating. Everything rotates in Clone Wars. So you can spin those around and get it into, you know, flight mode. And it's kind of reminiscent of a lot of other gunships that we've seen. It's similar to Mando's Razor Crest, you know, with the engine designs. Obviously, this one came first. But yeah, it's just like, again, that commonality that I was mentioning between Star Wars design philosophies just shining through here again. This one has fun, kind of interesting shaping along the bottom side here and along the front to get this very specific cockpit shape with the sloping in and the two side-mounted kind of nose cannons here. So that was fun to try to experiment with different ways to get that. Like, you know, there's a lot of sideways and upside down building and stuff like that going on in here to make all of that happen. And then just figuring out, you know, the exact, I wanted to get the color scheme pretty exact with the dark green and the yellow where it's supposed to be, but also to be able to have the engines support the whole thing and have them be the right height. So that was a lot of fun. Back here, I'm just using one of these bucket handle pieces for what are supposed to be dual mounted laser cannons. And then these are just the kind of, I guess, secondary engines in here. They look like, because these are obviously the main kind of thrust providing engines, but you know, maybe, I don't know, who knows what the exact function of those is, but it sort of has a Harrier jump jet, you know, vertical takeoff engine feature to it. So maybe as it's ascending, these engines here just sort of provide the forward thrust before the engines have gotten into place. Who knows? Star Wars ships don't really need logic. They just have to look cool and look somewhat convincing, and we buy it. So, but yeah, the bounty hunters got up to a lot of mischief in this thing, and it was nice to see Boba Fett and the other bounty hunters not just relying on Slave One all the time, because, you know, that was around at the time. So it was nice to see them get their own interesting, different looking ship. And it gives us another look into Star Wars, you know, another peek into the galaxy that we haven't yet seen with something that's new. So I always do appreciate that. And let me just give you a quick look at all my gunships together. And there you go. I've just assembled a couple of the different eras and different factions of Star Wars gunships, just to give you a little look at all of them together. I like how this scales to the Razor Crest. It's pretty similar in overall volume, although the Razor Crest is a much more condensed package. It doesn't have these long booms that attach to the wings. But again, it's kind of, you can kind of imagine the designers of these ships, in universe, starting from a similar place. The obviously very successful deployment of the LAAT, just sort of playing into that design philosophy, the configuration of the cockpit, the weapons, the wings. It all just kind of has a commonality to it, which I like, and it makes sense when you look at that. You can understand this as a gun platform bred for warfare. Like, you can get that just from looking at it. So I think that's really cool. But yeah, so there is my Bounty Hunter Assault Gunship. And lastly, we have the newly redesigned Twilight. Like I said, I just wanted to give you guys a quick look at some of the new features. It still has the ability to swivel the main gun just like before. Nothing changed there. It has a slight reconfiguration on the wing-mounted cannon here, where I wanted to just bring that in slightly because it's not supposed to be right at the tip like what it was before. I added in this kind of engine glow, because this is a massive engine outlet back here, and I just wanted to, when you're looking at the thing flying away, it has this huge yellow glow back here, so I just wanted to call that out. And then I redesigned the bottom wing, where I moved it over because I realized before it was actually centered, and it's actually supposed to be right up against this edge right here. So I moved it to be in the correct position, and I also just redesigned the whole bottom wing as well to be a lot sleeker, a lot thinner, minimized the studs visible on this, and also tiled off these with the kind of reverse tiles here that have the studs on the top. So that all worked out really well, I think. And then I had wanted to add in the opening door as well for the whole kind of Anakin's starfighter to be able to fit in there. Now, it technically, you could imagine a starfighter fitting in here. It cannot obviously in real life do that, just due to the complications of this design. But I think it could believably fit inside of this space. I don't see any problem there. I know this is Obi-Wan's Jedi starfighter, but Anakin's one would be the same size. But I wanted to at least give a little bit of an indication that that is possible in this ship. So yeah, and then, and I switched out the windows to be the transparent pieces too, just because I like to get a little bit of light in there. I think these dark trans black or trans brown pieces really work well for these darker cockpits. So definitely wanted to get that going in there. And then I think also the last thing I did is I just slightly altered the landing gear configuration to where those are not quite as tall. I believe they were just a little bit more unsightly before. So yeah. Oh, and final thing. I just moved this whole engine out by one plate. I just increased the distance from the hull, because previously this was actually an illegal technique where these parts were being stressed by being too close and butting up against the side of the ship here. So I just wanted to legalize that, as it were, and so I have done that. So those are all of the major changes, or I think that's all the changes I made to the Twilight. Alright, you guys, and here is the full collection of my Clone Wars era kind of things that I just threw all of the Clone Wars stuff in here that I could think of. And I'm counting the Lambda class shuttle back there because it makes an appearance in the very, very final closing minutes of the Clone Wars, which I think makes it the new earliest on-screen appearance of that ship, if you're watching everything in chronological order. But I really love, like I said, seeing the kind of bulked up fighter presence that I have here with the new Y-wings and the V-19 next to the Z-19, the Z-95 Headhunter. I always forget the name of that one, and the ARC-170 and the Jedi fighters back there as well. So I think that that looks really nice. And then here up front, I just have all of the droid forces. I have to do a much more CIS, that's the Confederacy, the bad guys in Clone Wars. I have to do a episode focused on their stuff because they have been very underrepresented in this conflict. You can see it's dominated by Republic stuff right now. But yeah, and then seeing the new shuttles in here really makes me happy. I love, let me just move the LAAT out of the way. I love seeing the Jedi shuttle in there next to the fire ship because they have the red and white color scheme, and previously that was sort of an outlier. So now it has a friend. And then all of the different shuttles, and just, man, this new class assault or attack shuttle back here, that thing is just so cool looking to me. So yeah, really happy with how the collection is looking for the Clone Wars era. Like I mentioned before, if you guys are fans of ships of this scale and of little kind of Star Wars micro builds like this, check out my playlist and see some of the absolutely gigantic ones that I've created, like the droid dropship, which I neglected to include in this just because it would dominate the whole table and just make it all about that. But yeah, absolutely humongous. And then things like the Rebel medical frigate, which again towers over everything. So I have a bunch of stuff like that. And then next episode, we're going to be taking a look at my Rebels update. I have a pretty substantial update for Star Wars Rebels for you guys as well. And let me know down in the comments which Star Wars ships from Clone Wars I haven't done yet. Trust me, I probably have it on a list somewhere, but there's always ones that maybe I missed or I haven't thought of, or that I didn't think anyone would be interested in. So if you let me know, then I'll be more inclined to make it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed taking a look at this collection. I've been very busy making ships. I don't know what it is. The last couple of weeks I've just been super motivated to make Star Wars ships and just keep adding and growing the fleet like this. So I know obviously this channel isn't just about the Micro Fleet series. There's a bunch of other things that I've been kind of neglecting, other series that I want to get back to updating. But just for whatever reason, I have to go with my inspiration, and right now my inspiration is Star Wars ships. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed seeing the fleet grow just a little bit more today. And tune in next time for the update to Rebels so that you guys can see this whole era really getting fleshed out now. So yeah, thanks again for watching, you guys. I really appreciate it. I'll see you next time, and may the Force be with you.